Hello everyone, welcome to Easy Linguistics. This session will be about morphological processes. Without further ado, let's get started. So here is the outline of this presentation. So first we are going to be tackling what the definition of the morphological process, and then we are going to see the different morphological processes including prefixation, suffixation, interfixation, circumfixation, infixation, transfixation, and then reduplication. So first, the definition of a morphological process. So what is a morphological process? So it is a process whereby new words are created via adding other morphemes in the beginning, middle, end, or around the root or the stem, or maybe sometimes by duplicating the morpheme either completely or partially, as we are going to see in the morphological process called reduplication. So what is a morphological process? What did you understand by a morphological process? So in creating new words, languages use certain morphological processes in order to do that. So for instance, in English, the word or the root form. So this we can create as many words as possible using this root. So the root form we can create, for instance, the verb inform. We can use you create the word information, informational, formational, formalization, informalization, etc. So as you can see, we can use as many words. We can create as many words as possible depending on the language, and each language is known for certain morphological processes. So a morphological process may be productive in certain language and unproductive in another language. For example, a prefixation or transfixation or infixation is not as productive as suffixation in English. And other languages may use, for example, transfixation. So for instance, Arabic, Hebrew, for example, are known for transfixation. And we are going to see other languages apart from English. So the first one, I have started with giving examples. So words that you already know: acknowledge, account, enrich, asleep, afloat, impossible. What do you think is the morphological process used in creating these words? Well, it is prefixation, and you already know this process. So it is just a process in which the affix or prefix, to be particular, precedes the root. It is also divided into inflectional and derivational, but it is less productive than suffixation. As I said previously, suffixation is more productive than prefixation in English. It is more productive than other morphological processes as well, like transfixation, infixation, interfixation, etc. So what you should keep in mind is that knowing the morphological process is not enough. So we have to know what changes or what categories these morphological processes create. So for example, this prefix AC in English. So we have knowledge, which is a noun. So adding this AC, which is a prefix, to the noun makes this noun a verb. So this prefix verbalizes the noun. This AC here does not verbalize, but it nominalizes. So we have count, which is a verb, and then we have AC. When adding this AC, this prefix to this noun, to this verb, sorry, it becomes a noun. It nominalizes this verb. So we have to know these different changes that these prefixes or these affixes in general bring about to the whole morpheme or to the whole word. So this is as far as prefixation is concerned. So let's move to another morphological process. So here are certain examples. I started with giving examples because you already know these words. You are familiar with these words, but you may not be familiar with the morphological process used in creating these words. So for example, we have inform and ation, information, knowledge, contextual, pleasure, percentage, etc. So this is just suffixation. So suffixation, is the process of placing the affixes or suffixes in the end of the root. So prefixation, we add the affix before the root, but in suffixation we add the suffix after the root. So we had information, adding this ation suffix, which becomes information. So we also have to, as I said earlier, we have to know the different changes these suffixes or these affixes bring about to the whole word. So this Asian suffix normalizes the verb. This ledge also normalizes the verb. This contextual, this suffix here makes the word adjective. So this is as far as suffixation is concerned. Now let's move to the other morphological process, which is interfixation. So interfixation, an interfix precedes one root and follows another. It is used for compound words. This morphological process does not exist in English, but it exists in other languages. So this interfix, what is this interfix? So it precedes one morpheme and it follows the other. So we have here, so this morpheme and this is a morpheme. So this interfix follows this morpheme and precedes the other morpheme. And as you can see, the whole word here is a compound word. And it doesn't exist in English, I guess. So let's now move to the other morphological process, is circumfix. Circumfixation. So a circumfix is a discontinuous affix that divides the root, but it is itself divided into a suffix and a prefix. It is a kind of affix that embraces the root. So what do you understand by circumfixation? As we can see, it is a discontinuous affix and it divides the root, and this circumfix is also divided into two other prefixes and suffixes. So for example, we have in Georgian language, so we have this katam and this SAE are both circumfix. They are just one circumfix, but they divide the root, which is katam. And we have another example here, me, this is or, which is the root, and then we have this circumfix, which divides the root. And we have an example here in English, light, which is a noun, adding this circumfix, one before the root, the other after the root, and it becomes a verb. So this is as far as circumfixation is concerned. So let's move to the other morphological process. So infixation. So an infix is an affix that divides the root and creates this continuous basis. So what do we understand by this definition? So it basically it is basically placed in the middle of the root. Sometimes in the middle, sometimes after the first consonant, sometimes before the last consonant, depending on the language given to us. So an example in this Bontoc language, we have this kelad, which is red, and to convert it to be red, we added this infix just after the first consonant K. We have another example, ficus, and to be strong, to convert it to be strong, we added the same morpheme after the first consonant of the word or of the root. So this is what infixation is. The other morphological process is a transfix or transfixation. This is the morphological process. So a transfix is an affix which both divides the root but is itself divided. It is dominant in Arabic, Hebrew, and other Semitic languages. So this transfix divides the root. It is known for its division of the root and for the fact that it is divided as well into prefixes and suffixes and infixes as well, depending on the language, of course, that we are dealing with. So for instance, in Arabic we have taraqa, kitab, rasul. So we have the root is the main consonant of the word. So in taraqa we have the main consonants are T, R, K, kitab, K, T, B, and we can create kitab, kutub, katib, etc. And the rasul is the same as other words. So we created this word by means of transfixation. We have also Hebrew. It's the same as Arabic. We use transfixes in order to create more words or to inflect words as well. So it works both that way, whether derivational or inflectional transfixes. The last morphological process is reduplication. So reduplication is a morphological process whereby a morpheme or part of a morpheme is duplicated in order to create new words categories in the language. And when the whole morpheme is duplicated, it is called complete reduplication. And when only part of the morpheme is duplicated, then we call it partial reduplication. So here is a complete reduplication. So it is a repetition of a word. Examples include this language, Warlpiri language, Kurdu, child, Kurdu, Kurdu. Partial reduplication, we have repetition of a morpheme, a syllable or many syllables. Examples include this Ayokano language, Ulu, head, Ulu, Ulu, Ul, Lulu, Ulul language. Sorry. So in the first example, we duplicated the whole morpheme, the whole word, as you can see, Kurdu, Kurdu, but which is called complete reduplication. But in the second example, we didn't replicate or duplicate the whole morpheme. We only duplicated the first syllable of the word. So this is as far as reduplication. I'm also gonna, state the different functions of this morphological process. So reduplication is used derivationally or inflectionally, just as many other morphological processes like prefixation, suffixation, transfixation as well, for grammatical purposes such as indicating plural, tense. These are as far as inflection is concerned, for some changes in meaning as the following. So we have the first function, which is augmentation, to intensify a word. So we have buku, for example, this buku. In order to intensify this word, we just duplicate the whole word. We have also this diminution or attenuation function, which is the exact opposite of the first function. So we have anak, 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 small boy, somewhat wet. So this is the opposite of intensification. And the last function would be frequency. So in order to express frequency in a language, we use reduplication as a morphological process for this purpose. So this is the end. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time, inshallah. It's caught in the crossfire.